All righty, good evening. I want to report out for the study session. The City Council approved 3-2 a motion to conduct a search for the new police chief and do the search based on qualification. The City Council voted 5-0 to hire the Kaufman Law Firm can't read this right here, based on the harassment complaint made by Councilmember Cruz Baca and Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. All right.
Mayor, may I speak?
Yes.
Because I want to clarify the motion. A lot of times that when you say it's 2-3, or people don't understand what that means, and I want to be very clear because this is important to me. The motion that we made for the chief of police, we were trying to figure out the salary for the new chief of police. They made a motion to just leave it as is, $235,000. I made a motion to cap it at $210,000 because West Covina, who's 130-something residents, pays $216. Covina, $218. San Gabriel, $218. Monrovia, $189. And I cannot see that a city this small would want to just throw that kind of money away. So I insisted that we cap it at $210. We cannot pay more than our surrounding cities, especially that our city, I believe, doesn't have the capacity to make that much tax dollars, considering they have malls and car shops. So just wanted to clarify that was the motion. I needed a cap.
Mayor? Yes, Councilmember.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Councilmember Cruz Baca, then we'll go over to you. Go ahead, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Yes, I would just like to say that that's the same reason that I voted against the cap, because I agree with Councilmember Rubio. I also want to say that before we spend the money on the investigation for the allegations that Councilmember Pacheco has made against me, I just want to say that I did try to work it out with a mediator. I had even brought up that Pastor Flores might be able to sit down with both of us to work it out, but instead he's opted to go ahead and spend the money in order for us to have this ridiculous investigation. Thank you.
Okay. I know what you're talking about, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Just real quickly, the reason that I voted for go with the chief of police for depends on qualification. That means we have a range that is now open. We can go higher or lower. It doesn't lock us into any range. So that's basically why I did it. I think we should get the highest quality police chief for our community. And there's no waste of money if you're going to pay a police chief for doing work in the city. So I believe that we could go, it depends on qualifications. It could be a higher salary, a lower salary, whatever range we have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilman Ricardo Pacheco. Vice Mayor Monica Garcia.
I just want to say that I actually agreed with Councilmember Susan Rubio, but again, my position is we should get a candidate depending on their own qualifications and their own experience and what they bring. So I agreed with you, but again, depending on qualifications, I think is just, it gives us more discretion as we're choosing the next chief of police. And I also want to clarify that it was a unanimous vote to investigate the claims that have been brought by Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco and Councilmember Cruz Baca, and we all were in agreement. So I just want to clarify and state that for the record. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
We were in agreement today, but when all this started about a month ago, I did bring up the fact that we could try to go to a mediator or a counselor in order for us to try to air out our differences and to learn to respect each other here in the dais. And of course, I was shot down with that idea and practically laughed out of the room by Councilmember Pacheco.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to allow me to say something, and I don't want to spend too much time. If you're willing to have that mediator, let's do that as opposed to the $20,000 that's going to be spent on this for an attorney. So do you want to? Because that you said something totally different up there. So at this point,
no.
If this is the point, then I will. Then let's do this. Yes.
It's not agenda size, so we'll go back to closed session.
We'll revisit.
There's a lot that was said.
Okay.
That the public's not hearing, and I just think it needs to be brought back before we come back out because
Okay.
you are not telling the truth.
Okay.
Ms. Cruz Baca.
Hold on. So at this point, what we'll do is I'm gonna request that we hold that off. Okay. So that's what we'll do, and then see if they can mediate so that we won't have to waste that money. All right. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open up the Baldwin Park City Council as well as the Housing Authority. And at this point, I will have that. Pastor Jackson's here. If you could lead us in an invocation followed by the flag salute. So I will ask all those that are able to stand to please do so. Thank you. Good evening.
the city. Plans in a man's heart, but only established with. That's what we in acknowledge you, all of our ways. Period. Calling up. Number one, Father, house divided cannot divide a house, but we blessings. Bless everyone. Baldwin Park. Bless the police department, the fire department, our teachers, our business. Bless them. Park.
Amen. Thank you. At this point, we'll face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, if I may, the housing and finance was canceled and it was posted. Thank you.
So we're going to move that DDA as well. We're going to move that over to December the 7th, and I'll get to that. All right, thank you. Roll call at this point.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Here.
Councilmember Susan Rubio. Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Manuel Lozano.
Present. Thank you very much. All right. Anyone wishing to close on anyone's behalf? If not, all right.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to share the great news that Mr. Contreras had his last chemo on Friday.
Awesome.
And today he had his last shot so he could grow more good white cells. Thank you, everybody, for your support, for your prayers. And here we go. Thank you.
All righty. All right. Thank you very much. And real quick, just want to thank Manny Carrillo and all the staff, all the team effort, police department, that were all a part of the annual parade. The last time that we had it was 2010. So it was very, very well attended. So I want to thank everyone that participated. And, of course, we're going to be recognized as the king and queen from that particular time. All right. Yes, Councilmember Susan Rubio.
There's a closing on someone's behalf at the end of the agenda. Look at the last page.
Oh, Mayor, yes, that's an item that I had brought up, but I could mention it now.
That's fine.
I'd just like to close on behalf of Emmanuel Bravo. He was a resident of Baldwin Park. He was a victim of workplace violence, and he was about 27 years old, a very productive individual in the community. His mother had just told me that he had just moving out. He had just got a new job, and his life was really going in a great direction. He was saying that he was going to save money for his mom and pay some bills for her and for the family. But unfortunately, he fell victim to workplace violence. So I just want to ask you all to keep him and his family in your prayers. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Real quick, also want to acknowledge Dr. Flores. It's in the back. The Church of the Redeemer, I believe, will actually celebrate their 55th anniversary. He's invited us on the 20th, so we look forward. And we could also let the local state assembly and state senate, as well as congresswoman and our supervisor. It's important because they played such an important role in the city of Baldwin Park for many, many years. So congratulations to you, your parents, and the entire family, Dr. Flores. All right, so at this point, anyone else have any further information they want to share? Okay, if not, we're going to go into the presentation by Lou Ortega, and from the outpatient pharmacy director at Kaiser Permanente Baldwin Park Medical Center, to congratulate the City of Baldwin Park and Baldwin Park Police Department for their successful participation in the National Drug Take Back Day 2016. Good evening, sir. Is the mic on? Let's turn the mic's on.
Here we go.
Here we go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Lozano. And I'd like to stand here today to really thank the Baldwin Park City Council and the Baldwin Park Police Department for making our Drug Take-Back Day in Baldwin Park extremely successful. What I'd like to do is I'd like to start just with a little backup nationally, what happened nationally. This is the 6th year that the DEA has started with Drug Take-Back Days throughout the nation. A lot of Americans, they've been coming out in large numbers to rid their homes of unwanted drugs and expired drugs. These unwanted drugs include things like painkillers, tranquilizers, and stimulants. Nationally, on October 22nd, the public turned in 731,000 pounds of unwanted drugs at 5,200 collection sites. The Drug Take-Back Day offers people an anonymous and safe way to turn in their drugs and make sure that they don't fall into the wrong hands of the wrong people. An estimated 6.4 million Americans abused controlled prescription drugs in 2015. An approximate 4 million people who abuse prescription painkillers state that they obtained those drugs from friends and family, including their medicine cabinets. 4 to 5 people, new heroin users, started with prescription painkillers. Unfortunately, statistics from 2014 tell us that 78 people die every day from opioid overdoses. That roughly means about 1 person every 18 minutes, and it means 30,000 people die unneededly every year. But here's the nice part. Baldwin Park has done a really good job. I know that we partnered with you for the last 4 years, but every single year it seems like we do better and better. As a matter of fact, this is our first year that we asked to do this twice. We've always done it in April, but this year we thought we would try to do it twice, again in October. In April this year, we collected 600 pounds of medications, and just recently in October, we collected another 814 pounds. So that means that we collected 1,414 pounds this year. And I just wanted to equilibrate that to the rest of the nation. That means that the average redemption center collected about 140 pounds, and in Baldwin Park, we're averaging about 700. I think this is a test to the fact that the Baldwin Park residents really want to do the right thing, and when they do come in, I know that the policemen who work with us, they know that people come and they feel very comfortable when they return them in front of them, because they know that they're going to be disposed of correctly. I know that the people here in Baldwin Park, when they do turn them in, they know that they're not supposed to flush them down the toilet. They know they're not supposed to throw them in the trash, and they're very respectful, and they know that this is the correct way to do it. I know that Baldwin Park, you guys do a very, very good job of getting the word out, and that's why I wanted to come and tell you that we're so grateful to partner with you. The drugs that were turned in were not just Kaiser specific. We received drugs from many different types of retailers, medical office buildings, so it really is a community benefit. So with that, I'd like to thank you, and I think that we would like to continue at twice a year. I think that we're getting like a 5-fold better average than the average collection site. I think that these types of drugs really do reduce a lot of the city's problems. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, and thank Kaiser as well. All righty. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go into the recognition of Javier and Eva Navarro in recognition of being selected Senior King and Queen 2016. As they make their way up here, I will go ahead and read the little bio that I have. It says, Mr. and Mrs. Navarro have been married for 37 years and have lived in the city of Baldwin Park for 35 years. They are proud parents of 2 children and 5 great-grandchildren. For the last 20 years, Mr. Navarro has actively participated in activities and classes at the Julie McNeil Senior Center. Mrs. Navarro has traveled over Mr. and Mrs. Navarro have traveled all over Mexico, Canada, and he and her husband worked as a nurse in the military academy in Mexico for over 9 years. Mr. Navarro retired 4 years ago. Since then, he's been an active volunteer at the Senior Center in various capacities. Mr. Navarro is a board member of the Ballpark Senior Club, and both Mr. and Mrs. Navarro are active volunteers for bingo, rummage sale, popcorn, and soft drink programs, and the interval lunch program. In addition, they have participated in the annual fashion show, tree lighting, caroling, and are looking forward to this year's anniversary parade float. So they were in the actual float itself. So let's give a great hand and recognition to this couple. Los felicito. Oh, yes. Okay. Esta placa, el símbolo de la ciudad. The plaque that reads, "The City Council would like to congratulate you for being selected King and Queen of the 23rd Annual Senior Citizen Prom. Thank you for the favorable recognition you bring to the Seniors Center and our community." Muchas gracias, parte de la ciudad de Ballpark. Es un gran orgullo de reconocer a los dos. Les presentamos. Lenny, hold on real quick. Yes, they're going to say some words right now, right? Yes. So pásale, ¿quién quiere hablar? Con ánimo, con ánimo. ¿Lo quieren?
I just want to thank everybody, and it's been an honor being selected king and queen. Thank you.
Gracias. Felicito.
Thank you.
¿Los puedo tomar un poco?
Aprendiendo de mí.
Gracias. Felicidades.
Gracias. Thank you so much.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. Let me.
Pasen buenas noches,
Monica, I think we're recognizing you. For Miss BP or something here. All right. Next one is a recognition of Ballpark Police Officer Adam Acuna and the Los Angeles County Fire Captain Matthew Boyes for being honored by Congresswoman Grace Napolitano for their exemplary service to community and country. So I want to also acknowledge that Councilmember Cruz Baca, Councilmember Susan Rubio, and I attended the event that represented lots of police officers and first responder, fire department, and the military that were there on that special day.
Mayor, can I just
Yes.
also thank the Congresswoman, Grace
Yes.
Napolitano. It really was a beautiful event because not only do they honor police officers, but they also honor veterans in all branches of service. So we want to thank the Congresswoman for what she does. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I was at Trade. I was up north.
Thank you, Chief, for being here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Where is Elena here? Oh, yeah. Come on up here from Congresswoman. Yes, Grace Napolitano. That's the only one I have left.
That's why you're.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, thank you.
How are you? Nice.
You're putting another one, you know, just
Thank you very much.
All right. So at this point, you want to say some words?
I'm here on behalf of Congresswoman Grace Napolitano, and although we already recognized these gentlemen at our event on Thursday last week, I wanted to publicly acknowledge what they do and the reason why they were selected for this award, and it's because of their commitment to the community. So I'm here again to congratulate them and make it a public announcement that they were honored this past Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, at this point, we're going to have... Come on up here. Say some words. Why not, you guys?
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Do I have to lean down? Well, thank you very much. I'm humbled, and it's usually something I think firemen just kind of nervous about doing. We love what we do, and when we get honored individually, we're a team, and unfortunately, my shift is off today. I am working overtime at another station, but they brought me in. But I think I'm honored for this tonight because of all of them that they're not here, and I'll let them know that. Thank you very much. Very appreciative.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to have Detective Acuna. Come up here, sir.
I don't have much to say because I'm not a man of many words, but just thank you guys over there. Thank you guys in the back. And Officer Delgado on the side. Officer Barajas.
Yes. Sure. All right, at this, we're going to bring Chief Enrique. Come on up here.
Good evening, Jim Enriquez, LA County Fire Department. On behalf of the men and women of the LA County Fire Department and our Fire Chief Osby, thank you for the recognition. Thanks to the city for taking the time to recognize our first responders. As you know, the individuals that work in the city are very dedicated. Matt, our fire captain, has been here for 5 years as a captain, and he's the person that when you call, dial 911, he ensures the best service is rendered to you. And for that reason, Matt has done is very conscientious. And I can assure you that each time you call dial 911 and you receive the firefighters from LA County Fire Station 29, and Matt's working, you're going to receive the best service possible. We are very honored that Matt continues to work here in the city. He's a very seasoned fire captain and in the fire service, and he chooses to work here. And for that reason, it was very easy selection when we asked to identify someone in the local fire station to be the person of the year for Grace Napolitano's event, as well as the city of Baldwin Park's event. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to let everyone know that Chief Enrique is a product of the city of Baldwin Park and graduate from Baldwin Park High School. All right, so at this point, we're going to get our pictures. All righty. Here, oh. Chief Barnelli, that's right. Okay, Chief Barnelli's going to come on up here. Forgot about you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Back there.
I want to thank everyone for coming out. The most important thing is that we recognize these two gentlemen for their hard work and their dedication to the city. Detective Acuna has been a hardworking member of our police department for 9 years now, wow. And he's been a detective for 3 years working in gang crimes. And he was specifically chosen for his hard work and his dedication and his results that he's done with his cases, where he's put a lot of people behind bars and he's worked really hard. He has over 100 cases that he's currently working, and he has got a lot of firearms and things off the street. So we're very proud of him as a police department.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Guys, can I take
Thank you again.
Oh. Sure. Very much. Thank you.
Right here.
let us come in here.
Oh, okay, here.
With them in the middle.
I did.
Thank you very
Again,
much.
very modest,
Appreciate
giving
it.
your recognition to
Give
your
us chairs
team.
of these.
All right, good to see you as always. Okay.
Thank you.
We gotta get. All right. Yeah, we have, all right. The next one we have is the introduction of Norma Martinez, District Director of the San Gabriel Valley and El Monte Regional Office of Hilda L. Solis, Supervisor of the First District, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. Good evening. Thank you for being here, Norma Martinez.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, council
Yes,
members
good
of Baldwin Park, city staff, and all the public. Like you mentioned, my name is Norma Martinez, and I'm here to formally introduce myself to everyone as the new District Director for Supervisor Hilda Solis for the First District El Monte Area Office, which is located 3400 Aerojet Avenue, and it's Suite 240 in the city of El Monte. I'm just here to basically let you know to please don't hesitate to contact us. If you have any questions or concerns, our number is 626-350-4500. Again, I'll repeat just in case you need it, 626-350-4500. And I'm looking forward to working with you. And I'm also a Baldwin Park graduate from Baldwin Park High, and I grew up in Baldwin Park, so I'm pretty excited, yeah. I'm excited to be here and being able to serve a city that I grew up in and that I love very much. So
Thank you
for your
Thank
time
you
and
very
have a
much.
great evening. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? I believe, did you do some good work with Danny Oaxaca as well?
I did,
At the
yes.
Conservation Corp?
Yes, I did,
Oh,
yes.
wow. Is he sad to see you leave?
He,
You've
yeah,
been
it's
there
a
for a while.
bittersweet feeling, but he's excited and very proud. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Good night. All right. So at this point, I see no other items on the agenda for presentation, so I'll go ahead and open up the public communication. Anyone wishing to speak? Yeah, approximately 3 minutes. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, City of Baldwin Park, Mayor, council members, and residents of Baldwin Park. Gabriel Ramirez, resident of El Monte. As you can see, I'm giving you guys the envelopes. It's going to be in that packet. It's pictures. October the 23rd at 3:42 p.m. It was a service that we have in my house was in El Monte was battery service with AAA. We have a company, towing services, that is not contracted with the city, it's still tabled, but contract with AAA service, Royal Coaches. On that day, on that black cap, as you can see in the picture, it's kind of hard to see, is a black cap that they broke and they lost our caps. There was an issue that it was brought up to, we made a complaint with AAA. They notated. We went to Royal Coaches on Wednesday to verify, just to get us our service done. Hey, their technician made a mistake. All we want is to make sure, find a solution to fix it. So we contacted Nelson Honda, all the procedures. We pretty much did the whole procedures. The owner has a very intimidated attitude towards my father, towards myself, and my family, disrespectful, raising his voice, urging, saying, we're not paying for that. It was not our fault. I'm not a mechanic, and that's not my specialty, and I don't know much about cars. So I asked that I show it to the city council. I would suggest to make sure that Royal Coaches doesn't interfere with our city, and make sure that if you guys are going to have towing services, make sure they're business friendly, not intimidating, not because for their interests of politics. That's what they do. They come to cities and in El Monte convincing council members to approve the contracts. So I would suggest take a look into it and hopefully an investigation with Royal Coach. It's nothing to put dirt or anything against it. I'm just saying it just happened to one customer. I understand, but please, it can probably happen to other customers. It can happen to any of the council members. I'm sure you guys would not love to have those services like that. I'm sure you guys would do something about it as well. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having me over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Neighbor from you guys, El Monte.
Yes, sir.
Royal Coaches, the owner has a bad attitude. He thinks that it's still the 1950s and the 60s where he can yell. Just because he came, I don't know where he came from, came yelling at my wife, my son, and myself. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a sugar diabetes guy. I had to walk off. I was shaken. He didn't even have the courtesy to say, I'm sorry, I apologize. Sure enough, it was taken care of. But what happens with all those people that don't have papers, don't have driver's license? I'm going way out of hand. But respect. Please, don't bring the 50s or the 60s. If he thinks that he can control, it's not Mexico, where he came from. It's not. Let's make it a fact to have respect. When I have my car, I've been there for AAA for 40 years. My ancestors, more than that. And AAA does not discriminate. But for that guy, yeah, he took care of my problem, whatever. I'm not going against him or nothing. I respect him. But please, make sure that Baldwin Park, the city of Baldwin Park, has a good reputation, not a bad reputation like that type of towing companies. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Hello, City Council, residents of Baldwin Park. Mayor, I just finished asking you upstairs to follow your agenda. You don't know what an agenda is. And I'm being frank with you. You look awful funny up there. You said, your agenda says here, open the meeting. You don't even do that. You came from that other meeting, jumped in here, you had conversation with your council people. I know, you're going to tell me the lawyer says I can do this. I don't care what the lawyer tells you. It's not right. You open this meeting down here at 7 o'clock or whenever you open it. Follow procedure. Jiminy crickets, Mayor. How crazy are you? It says here about 2, 4, 5 rows down, report from the closed session. You lie to everybody. You're the number one liar in the city of Baldwin Park. And everybody here, including me, say, my God, why doesn't he listen? Well, number one, because the lawyer don't tell you nothing. Number two, because nobody else cares. And us people that do care, you don't listen to us. If we don't bring you people something, you don't listen to us. We keep asking you to bring businesses that bring money. And you people just don't know English. It is sad that this city has to live under that kind of condition. Yep, go ahead. You need to bow your head. Because all the praying that they do for you guys and all the work that you so claim do for the city of Baldwin Park, you people are slowing down. You're not doing it for 99% of us. You're doing it for a very few amount of people. Get off your horses and start doing things for the whole city. All of us. We want you to represent all of us. All 70-something thousand people that live here. Start doing that. When you do a project, make sure it affects everybody and everybody gets included. You don't. You separate us. I live over there. They live over here. They live over there. And that's how you live with the city. Don't do that. It's 75,000 people here. Use all of us. That's why we put you up there. The ones we did, or that I did. These people over here, I'm still waiting for my assessment. I don't know whatever happened to it. It was $500 from all of you council people. Never seen it. But I'll tell you one thing. In January, when I get mine, I'm going to bring it here and have you people pay it. That'll be your assessment. It's not a tax. It's just added on. Thank you very much. Come on, Bill.
All right, moving along with public communication.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening.
Mr. Lozano.
Good evening.
All the brothers and sisters. How you doing? I'm on my way out. Just listening to these. First of all, a question I have is, where is downtown Baldwin Park? I've walked this city many times and I have no clue. Also, I think these brothers are really not putting out hatred towards you or anything like that. But I think as a leader, as you being the leader and in a command down to all the others, instead of
speaking to the mic because we barely hear you. Thank you.
Instead of
Appreciate
sitting
that.
on your chair, once in a while get up, maybe even take a ride along with one of your police officers and knock on some of these people's doors and tell them people's concerns, like that disrespect. Because I brought it to your attention before. I think respect is a key. I'm sure these fellow officers that serve your community, they respect you, and in turn you should respect them and the people. And when you do, if the time comes, which it's going to, and you bring in your new chief, I think you should maybe throw a party if everybody's in agreement so that the city and all the people can meet this brother and inform your workers, your police officers. Don't just bring them in. Because if you bring in a good leader, they want to serve a good leader as they're serving you. You know what I'm saying? It's good for them to know. Let them in. They're out there every day. They want to go home to their families. I think you should just open your heart, really put love in your heart, and really, like the brothers are saying, show kindness to your people. Your people respect you. Do the same to them, and you'll be established for a long time. God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Now, where's Baldwin Park, downtown Baldwin Park? I really don't know.
Right in this area. You're in the downtown area.
This is really
right across the street, right here on Main.
Yes, sir.
And Ramona. This whole area is the main downtown.
Okie dokie. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.
Everybody. Good night.
Good night. All right, thank you. At this point, we have public communication.
John Rios, resident. I'll talk about you, Mayor. Okay. The last council meeting, you abused Mrs. Baca. The lawyer should have walked in and told you, you cannot do that in public. He brought up her sister, brought up his brother. Now you taking this gentleman that he's going to be their new chief. Go through the due process. Okay? Mrs. Rubio tried to question you guys on how you guys were spending and everything. You guys shut her down. Mr. Pacheco says, oh, you want to investigate them because they didn't give you no money for your sister? Thank God Blanca was elected. One of the things that the lawyer, to have a meeting with all of you guys because code of conduct is very important. One of the things you do not have is courtesy to the other people. Do never embarrass somebody in front like you do, and Pacheco does, and Mrs. Garcia. You guys talk, shit goes through here. You guys don't have no respect for other people. One of the things, I was operation manager I saw what I saw last week, I would have fired you right there. No respect. No respect for females. You do not have no respect for females. Pacheco does the same thing. No respect. You know, that's one of the things that the people that saw the YouTube the past 2 weeks, they were totally surprised. Not surprised. They already know about you. Okay? A lot of them couldn't come because they were working or doing something else, you know. It's just a waste of time, that's what they say. Our plaza that we're going to build? No, Mr. Pacheco doesn't want it. He wants apartments. He wants to have those 10,000 like south of money. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Move along with public communication. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Greg Tuttle, business owner, Baldwin Park. First, I got to address Ricardo Pacheco's thing on the agenda that I'm Cruz Baca's campaign manager. I guess you must take stupid pills every morning. I have never been a campaign manager, never will be. I am good friends with Cruz Baca. Do I put up her signs when it's election time? Do I put up other people's signs? Absolutely. I am no campaign manager, and you can put on your agenda whatever you want with that thing, Pacheco, but it ain't going to fly with anybody here because they already know it's Smiley. Okay, the other thing is, the only reason that you want parks, you want to use the school property because you want your buddies with the soccer league that you gave free property access over at Barnes Park to park their toilets that's been overturned and cleaned up by the city in expense. And you guys want to play soccer over in Olive. It's not about the kids in the parks. The developers come in here and they pay good money to the city to pay for parks and green space when they develop in here and housing. But this city has misused those funds, and all they've done is rebuild, redo. That water park over there that's been redone at least 3 times. For thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands. But you guys keep pissing away that money, but you don't think of the future. That's why, because you're short-minded. The thing, Manny, with Cruz Baca, you had no right to bring her family into this. You're the one that caused the family thing because of your mayor thing when you ran for mayor. You divided a family that's been here probably close to 100 years. You divided that family for an election. You're the lowest thing that's on this earth, Manny. Nobody should go into families and divide them for an election. But you'll do anything for an election to get a vote. You'll bring Jeannie around and introduce this guy as the chief, go to all these different functions. You need to start understanding we're taking pictures and we're going to be turning it in to the right people. You guys have already predetermined who your chief is, and you try to bring in a guy from Inglewood that's a captain. And you're going to set a cap at 225. We know he makes close to 300. I've done his LexisNexis. I know all about him, all the homes he owns and all the other stuff. Let me tell you something. You haven't heard the dirt yet, but it's coming. And what you guys need to understand, you're going to do a fair process. If you're not, you're going to pay for it, and we're going to show it. And I guess I'm out of minutes, so I'm just going to go for the ding. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, at this point, we're not with public communication. See no further interest? Oh, there is? Okay.
Good evening, Margarita Vargas. I just want to thank you for all of you for the parade. A lot of people enjoy it, and they were asking if we're going to have it again. So I said, I'll go ask.
All right.
But, like you know, we were in in a float, the women's club. And even though we didn't win a trophy, I was really, my satisfaction was that all the people and the kids love it because we had bees. And so they were all saying, "No, the bumblebees and the bumblebees." So I enjoyed myself, and all the ones they were with me. But I wanted to ask, I don't know if you or many, if we can have a certificate of participation, because we like to put it in our yearbook in the women's club that we participated. Okay.
All right.
And even though I have a lot of pictures, the next thing is that I wanted to say is that for a month I've been seeing this sofa and the sidewalk of Ramona Parkway, like almost across the street from Shakey's Pizza, where it was Shakey's Pizza before. And I've been waiting to see how long, but it's already a month. So I thought I'm gonna ask somebody to do something about that. Okay. So, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and go into consent calendar.
Mayor, before the committee leaves, can I just make a quick announcement?
Sure.
I apologize, I'm out of
Okay.
order, but I know that right now during the holidays, all the churches in our community are collecting turkeys. I'm not sure, Pastor Flores, are you? I know St. John's the Baptist is. I know Lakeside is also as well in collaboration with St. John's. And so if you have an opportunity to stop by and get a frozen turkey, please donate to all these organizations that are trying to help our community. All the churches in this community are accepting frozen turkeys. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Susan Rubio, for bringing that up. All right. So at this point, we're going to go.
Mayor,
Yes.
just real
Yes,
quickly,
Councilman. Yes.
to sort of explain about the bumblebees. When a new president comes in to the Women's Club, they pick a theme or something that represents what they're about. Margarita picked the bumblebee because the bumblebee is always busy.
Oh, wow.
And always working like little bees and stuff. So that's why the bumblebees.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for explaining that. I was wondering that. All right. We're going to go ahead and go on to consent calendars. Councilman wishing to pull any items? Yes, Councilman Cruz Baca. Okay. That's fine.
I'd like to pull item number 3.
All right, 3. Council members wishing to pull any other? Okay, seeing no further interest, I'd now go ahead and make a move for.
I do have a question, but can I just pull number 4 for
4?
clarification? Thank you.
All right, so at this point, council members wishing to pull any other items? If not, I'm going to make a motion to move consent calendar items with the exception of 3 and 4. That is my motion. Second. Any objections? Seeing none, so move. Okay. First one is Councilman Cruz Baca. The second reading of ordinance is number 1391 pertaining to the consolidation of elections and changing the city municipal election from odd years to even years. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Yes, and I know that it was voted 3-2 at the last council meeting. However, I have had a lot of residents, and I too have had a chance to think about this. Before we move forward, I would like to see if what the municipal code says is in regards to the elections, and if I could please direct our city attorney to look at that and bring it to the next council meeting, because I'm not really sure what the municipal code says about the elections, how we can go about, what type of voting can we do. Is it up to the people to make that type of a decision, or is it up to the council unanimously to make the decision to change the election date or year? The other one is, of course, the people. Many people have approached me and said that they would like to have the choice of being able to make the decision, because after all, they're the ones that vote for us, and they would like to make the decision as to when the election would be changed, if it would be changed. So if we can bring this back to the next council meeting, please, because the municipal code is very important to me, for me to understand what it says about our elections. Thank you.
Wasn't that reviewed? Okay. This one, let me ask City Council. That was reviewed, wasn't it? Am I correct? Because that's when.
Well, the ordinance does repeal part of the municipal code that deals with this, because we did have to change the municipal code if we're going to change this ordinance. So there is a part of the municipal code that's being repealed. But I can still take a look at it again.
Right. Okay, at this point, Councilman Cruz Baca. Councilman Susan Rubio, go ahead.
Well, I just want to reiterate, and I did state it last council meeting, I think if we're going to change elections, I think it's so important that we let our community know before we do something like that, because as it is, people are very distrusting of our local leaders and politicians, so to speak, and I really like I said last time, think that we really need to inform the community, the residents who elected us, what we plan to do before we do it, because I'm not comfortable making changes without notifying the residents. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Monica Garcia, Vice Mayor.
Yes, I do recall that this election cycle was changed several years ago. Initially, it was a city election, and then we changed, or the then council changed it to become a county consolidated election.
That's correct.
And that was done here at the dais.
I was here.
So I'd like to just go ahead and move to approve this item, move it forward.
All right, so there's a motion.
Second her motion.
Any objections?
Yes, I have a substitute motion.
Are there substitute motion?
That I would like to understand the municipal code, if you please, Mr. Tafoya. I would like to be able to bring this back to December the 7th so that we can get a clarification, not only for myself, but for the residents as well, as what the municipal code states about the elections. And yes, I remember when that election was changed. However, I would like clarification. Thank you.
All right, at this point, there's a motion.
I will
substitute
second
motion.
that.
Second, any objections? Objections. So at this point, we're going to go into voting. So I'm going to have our city treasurer, Maria Contreras, go ahead and take roll call for the, there's a substitute motion on to bring the actual number 3, which is the second reading of ordinance 13991 pertaining to the consolidation of elections and changing the city municipal election from odd years to even years. So at this point, go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia.
So do you want to start
Well, I
with
guess let's start
the
with
person that
Cruz
made the
Baca.
motion?
The motion was made by Councilman Cruz Baca. The
Councilmember
substitute motion.
Cruz-Baca, and we're voting so that it can be. So that the substitute
Right.
motion is for us to bring it back to
Yes.
December the 7th.
That is
Correct.
correct.
Yes.
In order to get clarification.
In order
on
to get
municipal code.
clarification in regards to the municipal code.
But I would also add to see if we can inform the residents before we make this major change. They need to be vested in this decision as well. So I'll second that motion.
All right, so there's a second by Councilmember Cruz, Susan Rubio.
Okay. Councilmember Susan Rubio.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia.
No.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco.
No.
Mayor Manuel Lozano.
No, okay, the motion is denied, it's 3-2. So, yes, she did, yes, all right. Okay, so at this point, there is also, anyone want to make a motion? Vice Mayor?
Well, I made a motion.
Okay, we're going back to the motion, it was seconded by Vice Mayor Monica Garcia.
Yes.
So at this point, any objections?
Yes.
Okay, that one objection, so at this point, Madam City Treasurer, we could please have the roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem
Okay.
Monica Garcia.
Yes.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz Baca.
No.
Councilmember Rubio.
No.
Mayor Manuel Lozano.
Yes. Okay, so the motion passes, and that is 3-2. All right, so at this point, we're going to go on to the next one, which is item 4 by Councilman Susan Rubio, the adoption of salary resolutions number 2016-157 to update the comprehensive pay schedule to include a 7-step salary range for human resource risk manager in accordance with the CalPERS guidelines. Councilmember Susan Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for clarification, it seems to make sense to me, but I want to make sure it's on the record. When we're dealing with taxpayer money, I really want to make sure I understand and then we're clear. We're creating the steps, but it is subject to coming to the council for an evaluation, correct? So it's not an automatic increase without the council having a say-so to where the salary goes, correct?
That is correct. This position is hired and evaluated by the city council, and when we do choose a person, when the city council chooses that person, you can place them in one of these steps at that time, and then based on an annual evaluation, they could be moved within those steps.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to pass it with that clarification that it's not automatic, that we get to review the salary before they get the raise. Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion.
There's a motion second. Any objections? Seeing none, so move. All right, so at this point, we're going to go over to the city council acting as a successor agency. Are we? Yeah, we are. These are held over to December the 7th. That's
Mayor,
right.
I have a question.
Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I know that that in the past, this particular successor agency, there would be a separate meeting for that.
Right, that's correct.
Are we going to combine it with the regular council meeting, or will we have a special meeting like we have in the past in order to discuss about the successor agency and any of the properties in regards to that?
Good question. Because we're not meeting independently anymore, so
No.
this just comes over.
Well,
So-
but in the past, we've always, we've always had a separate meeting for the successor agency.
That is correct. Legal counsel?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, with reference to, we used to have it independently, of course, with a county individual, various elected officials through the county that were appointed. So we're no longer hosting that anymore. Correct?
Well,
That-
if I
because of the
could
closure?
clarify,
Or go
the board that meets separately with the county reps is the
Mhm.
oversight board.
Okay.
In this case, the housing successor
Oh,
agency
got
is
it.
what used to be the redevelopment housing agency,
So it's
and
referred
it
to.
is the same body as the city council.
Okay.
And I did check with David Olivas of Robert's office, and his
Okay.
advice was that these two items could be combined and heard at once.
Mayor, can I add to that? I find this a little troubling as well, only because I really want to be able to ask questions and really understand the property that we're discussing and thinking about. I would like to see this come as a study session so we can really know what the property is, what the costs are, and be able to ask the questions in a smaller setting where we're satisfied that we know every detail of this property that we want to turn over. Thank you, Mayor. So I would just make a motion to separate it as a special meeting so we can understand it.
All right, so there's
As
a motion on
as
the.
a point of
go ahead.
clarification,
Yes, go
Mayor,
ahead.
there's nothing illegal about putting them together, but you can have them separate, and that is what we've done in the past.
All right. So at this
Yes.
point, there's a motion by Councilmember Susan Rubio. It was to have them heard separately, and it was seconded by Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I would object because this information is still on the agenda. The full board is here and the public is here, so it serves no purpose to move it.
Okay. At this
To
point,
move it.
there's one objection by Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. At this point, I'll ask our City Treasurer Maria Contreras for roll call.
Councilmember Susan Rubio?
No. I mean, am I making the motion for myself? Sorry.
Yes.
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 But just for clarification purposes, we're talking about properties that we are going to get rid of. And sometimes we don't get the information up here. It's on the agenda, but we don't see the parcel. We don't see the appraisal. And if we're going to turn that property that belongs to the city to a third party, I think we need to have appraisals in check, and we need to know exactly what the property's worth. We cannot just turn it over without discussion. So I'm making a motion that we separate it so we can see the appraisal, the money, and what it's going to cost. So that's my motion. Thank you.
Councilmember Cruz Baca?
Okay. Let me.
Wait a minute, we're doing this again?
Oh, yes.
There was already a motion.
Okay, hold on.
For my
And a second.
answer is
I have
yes.
objection.
We're just to let everyone know, we're going to be discussing this December the 7th in a study session. So it's going to be on the.
So you're saying that you're agreeing to my motion to separate them and make that a special?
Well, here's the whole thing. We're going to discuss it there. Am I correct on that? That it's going to be on the for us to be.
Our plan was to have this come back because the developer was not ready tonight
Mm-hmm.
on these, what are actually 4 items, but are 2 of the same items. Their proposal then was to bring it back December 7th. We would have a study session at 5:30 and 6 o'clock. They would describe the project to you. You could have opportunity, if you wish, to discuss it in closed session, and then it could come forward onto the.
Wait, just for clarification, are we talking about item SA1?
And 2.
Yeah, both of them, Ricardo. Yes.
No, SA1 is the.
Hold on.
All right, then there's a little confusion. Can I get
HSA. I did skip.
I only have SA1 on
No,
my,
no.
on
You
my
have
agenda.
SA because I skipped SA1.
Yes, SA1 has to do with the target site. No. The ones that are coming back are HSA1
HSA1 and HSA2.
and then 9 and 10. And those are the Walburn development, the DDAs with the Civic Center site and the red car building.
Okay, so what is this motion? Is this motion about S like Sam, A like Apple dash 1? Or is it about H like Henry, S like Sam? A
I
like
think we
Apple? I'm
ski- I think
confused.
we skipped ahead.
Hold on. Let me just say I skipped SA-1.
Yes.
So that's where. Let's go back to it.
Okay, let's go back to it and read it and go
So
again.
at this point, it's a certificates of completion for the Sierra Center Target Shopping Center project at 3100 Ballpark Boulevard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up at this point. So at this point, any discussions on this?
Okay, staff, can you give us an update on this?
Thank you, council
Thank
members,
you.
honorable mayor, members of the audience. As you know, the Target Shopping Center was built approximately about 20 years ago under a development and disposition agreement. As part of that development and disposition agreement, the certificates of completion both with the developer at the time, which is SDC Partners, and Target, whose parent company is Dayton Hudson. The city was supposed to sign the certificates of completion, send them to the respective entities, and the respective entities were supposed to record them against the property. That would complete all the requirements in the DDA. However, after a lot of research, the certificates of completion were never recorded, and this was communicated to us by Dayton Hudson, which is Target's parent company, because they are looking to eventually subdivide their property to bring in a Chick-fil-A. So in talking with the city attorney's office, even though this, back in the day, this was done under redevelopment, the best that we can do now is have the chair of the successor agency sign the certificates of completion. I'm going to, should this be approved, forward them to Dayton Hudson, and they will be recorded, and the DDA will be finalized, and all of the requirements will be met.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor Monica Garcia.
Thank you. Since this is on the consent calendar and it's just a formality at this point, I'd like to move the item. I'd like to move for approval.
All right, so hold on. There's a motion by Vice Mayor Monica Garcia, seconded by Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. Are there any objections?
No objections, but I have, before we move with the motions, I had a question for Amy.
Yes, go ahead. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
Amy, is this unusual for this to happen? I mean, it's for 20 years later for something to not have been completed. You know, I start to wonder, are there other instances like this? Or
Well, I can tell you that when I went back through the files, I found a copy of a certificate of completion that was signed by the then city manager, Carl Yates, and then the other one, another copy, was signed by then Mayor Lowe's. Unfortunately, those are not original signed, so we cannot send those to be recorded at the county.
Okay.
I haven't seen another instance of this happen here at the city, but this is the best way we can deal with it.
Okay, so I have another question.
Sure.
So that means that the certificate of completion would be signed by Mayor Lozano, accompanied by the original one that was not an original?
No.
Or is just by Mayor Lozano?
It would just be by the chair of the successor agency.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have any other questions.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Cruz Baca. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and there's a motion and second. Any objections? Okay, see none, so move. All right, so at this point, the second page, HSA 1 and 2, including 9 and 10, will be moved over to December the 7th.
Mayor?
Yes.
And I know it's going to be moved over, but it's on the agenda, the other reports, and I just want to clarify for the next council meeting. You know, once again, we're talking about the properties, right? The HSA 1 and SA2, and it's talking about two separate properties that are going to be considered for a DDA, which means we're ready to turn it over to a developer to develop it and explore a development. I continue to have an issue with that because we cannot turn over city property without having proper appraisals. I think that's something that we're lacking. We need to know how much that those parcels are worth, and I haven't seen any at least formal writing. We need to make sure that we have the appraisal. So if this is going to be brought back, I need to see documentation. I want to make sure that we know exactly how much that parcel is before we turn it over to anybody or consider it. So that's my motion, that if we're going to bring it back, we have all the documentation so we know exactly what we're turning over to a developer.
Mayor?
All right, yes, go ahead.
I know that originally we had said to bring it back at a separate, and the reason that I would like to push for that is only because, like tonight, we were running short with the meeting. I don't want either the developer or our staff to be rushing to make explanations as to our questions. So that is my concern. I think that this should be a separate issue since it is very important. We are transferring properties that belong to the successor agency, and we need to make sure, not only the appraisals, but we need to make sure that we are transferring these properties correctly or whatever we're doing to this developer if we're going to do that. And that concerns me because it's very serious, especially with a lot of cities getting in trouble for transferring properties from the successor agency to developers. So I would like to have a separate study session or a separate day that we could all agree on so that we can at least spend a couple of hours without being rushed.
Mayor,
Yes,
what I would suggest that we have a special study session on December 7th. We still need to see the DDA. I'm assuming they'll be ready at that point before the meeting so we could review the DDA and take a look. I have a lot of questions on both of these projects, so I know we got about 2 weeks before, and I just want to make sure that staff gets all the information to the city council before December 7th meeting, and make sure that we have a lot of our, so I can look at it. But I would like to see at least where the projects are at and what's being proposed, and we just kind of go from there, Mayor.
All right, so
Can I
yes,
just add to that? I mean,
Go ahead.
I know that you want to see where they're at, but a DDA already in place. We're ready to finalize this, and I don't want to finalize it. And I know that you say we have 2 weeks, but let's clarify. We get the agenda on a Thursday night before, you know, the next council meeting. That's not enough time for, you know, for us to really go over everything and have all our questions answered. Just like today, we had 7 items on the agenda, and that's why we were running late today, because we have to handle so many things together. I object to that. I think it requires its own time so we can really deal with, you know, the finances, what the property is worth, and make sure that we do it right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Susan, did you have a motion earlier?
Yes,
Okay.
to bring it back as a separate item on a separate meeting.
And there was a second.
Okay, there was a second by Cruz Baca. Are any
Object.
objections? Okay, Madam City Clerk, at this point,
Member-
one objection?
Susan Rubio?
Yes.
Councilmember Kuzbaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia?
No.
Mayor Manuel Lozano?
No. Okay, the motion fails, and that's 3-2. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead over to Council Member Ricardo Pacheco requesting the discussion.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll move that over to the next council.
All right, okay.
Mayor, I have a comment over that.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to move it over for discussion because this is, again, a personal allegation that has no bearing here. He's alleging that one of our residents is my campaign manager. You know, once again, when I speak up here, it's always with documentations. I direct this, you know, the audience to go to either an agenda or look at the minutes where they can verify what I'm saying is correct. For you to say that.
Mr. Mayor, but I did
I'm
ask.
just speaking.
Louder to speak. Hold on.
I asked, Mayor, but I asked to move it over.
Allow her to finish. Louder to finish.
I asked to move it
Hold
over.
on. Allow her to finish. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Excuse me, but I'm gonna
go
have
ahead.
to remove.
No, stop, Mr. Tuttle. All right, go ahead. Councilmember Cruz.
So again, he is alleging, and the reason I'm saying, if he wanted to make that statement, I could understand, but it's in writing in an agenda saying that somehow this gentleman is my campaign manager. If you're going to allow that kind of statement, I need you to please, you know, invite the audience to find out where they can see that he's my campaign manager, any records that I've ever paid him, any records that him and I are associated in any way. You can't just allow items like these that are absolutely false on an agenda. It's like me making an allegation that, I don't know, that he hired someone illegally. I cannot just make statements that are not truthful, and I don't think we should allow our agenda to be used that way. Mr. Tuttle is not my campaign manager for him to put it here for anybody to pull and look, unless right now he's going to provide the audience proof that he is my campaign manager, either my 460s, any forms where I have to report who my campaign manager is. Then I demand that this item be taken away from this agenda, because this is false, and we're misusing these agendas for allegations that are not true. Because if that's allowed, then every agenda, then I can have any false allegations from him on this agenda, and that's misuse of time, misuse of agenda, and that's just a lie. Thank you, Mayor.
Right. Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca. Yes, ma'am.
I also agree. And yes, Mr. Tuttle has put up a lot of my signs, but he's also put up Ricardo Pacheco signs when Ricardo was running, not this last election, but but 4 years ago. Also, I find this very confusing to me, because at one time, Councilmember Pacheco was friends with Mr. Tuttle when Pacheco was having problems with Marlene Garcia. He would go to Mr. Tuttle. He even got a ticket for parking late one night in front of Mr. Tuttle's business. He got a traffic citation. You can look it up.
Okay.
Because he was parked there because he would come to Mr. Tuttle and ask him for advice on how to handle Councilmember Garcia, not Monica. Marlene Garcia. So I find this very confusing that all of a sudden he's throwing allegations that Mr. Tuttle is my campaign manager. You show me proof of where Mr. Tuttle has been my campaign manager at any time, the many times that I have run. I would like to find proof on anything where I have paid Mr. Tuttle for so much as even putting up a sign, because Mr. Tuttle has worked shoulder to shoulder with your father to put up a lot of signs. Does that mean that he's your campaign manager as well? I mean, this is so ridiculous and wasting our taxpayers' money.
Absolutely.
You know what, add to that,
I'm
Mayor?
sorry, Mayor, but I did have the floor next.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a witness to the fact that Mr. Tuttle was your campaign manager. And what's absurd right now is the fact that you are working coordination and collusion with this man, your campaign manager. For example, let me give you an example. Who was sending out that email? It was your former partner who lost the election, Mr. Danny Damien, put out an email, not only an email, but a robocall that today we are going to select a chief of police. And then he further went on to say that we are going to go with sheriffs. And then he put out an email that showed in an email that he was going to do the same thing. You may have, I find it humorous too, because you know what's funny is nobody showed up. Nobody but 8 pissed off people that came at 5 o'clock that Mr. Danny Damien said, excuse me, sir, excuse me, I am speaking, and I don't even move from here.
Stop. Do not interrupt.
This gentleman who lost the election to get back on board is fabricating lies. You send out an email, sir. You send it out to have people come here to this meeting that we were going to go with the sheriffs and that we were going to already hire a chief of police. You, Mr. Tuttle, and these two. You guys put that out. And you guys put out this shirt that you have of Ricardo Pacheco. I'm sorry, sir, but I am talking.
Stop, Mr. Tuttle.
You need a... Okay, you see his behavior?
Please stop. Stop.
So this is nonsense.
Stop.
This is nonsense.
You know what? Do me a favor.
Escort him out. Escort him out,
please. Not going to tolerate that.
So let me continue. It's absurd, Susan Robles and Cruz Baca, that the both of you continue to make this fabricated website and a bunch of fabricated lies. I know you smirk there. I know you smile and laughing. I think it's funny too because it really doesn't get anywhere. But I'm just pointing it out to you that those are workplace harassment issues that you continue to bring up. You're working with this gentleman. I'm a witness to the fact that he worked for you. He ran your campaign. He told you how to run your campaign. All the allegations you make are false. Yeah, there's a waste of time by when we're talking about this, but you guys are disruptive. You consistently call head staff, go through enormous amounts and reams of these invoices. Right? How many invoices did you go through? And none of what you said was true. Staff has reports now that I went to the last council meeting to show the community that both of you just wanted to slow down staff, stop any progress from continuing. And that's both of you are like filibustering the city council and the staff, and you just want to stop everything from continuing. And I think that's absurd. I think both of you should stop it and continue to just let the city council, let the members of this staff, let them work, let them do their job. But you consistently bombard them with questions, question their integrity on invoices that they sign, and none of what you said was true. I know you smirk and you smile, but you know what? It's sad. It's sad that both of you are leaders in this community, and that both of you just behave despicably. Thank you, Mayor.
May I have the floor?
Yes, Councilmember.
Because I always like to give, the audience just an opportunity to understand what he's talking about. Yes, Councilmember Cruzbach and I do question invoices, but I believe that's the job that we were elected to do. When we see invoices that we're not sure of what the charges are, I think it is our duty, not our duty, but our obligation to ensure that everything that we pay for is in the up and up. That's not our money. That is taxpayer money. And if they elected us to do a job, that's the job they elected us to do. And that is questioned when we see things that may not be inappropriate. Just to give the audience an example, yes, I found an invoice one time where we paid, I believe it was $15,000 to a vendor when an invoice didn't exist. So when you're paying $15,000 to someone and the invoice doesn't exist, it raises a red flag for me. So yes, I had a staff go back and look at why are we paying $15,000 when we don't have an invoice. So they backtracked. Eventually, they said that it was a miss. And I'm not blaming it on staff. I'm just trying to clarify for everyone. I do trust our staff, but they were able to find that it was an oversight. There wasn't an invoice, and they did pay for it. So me looking into these things is not harassment. It's doing my job as a council member, and that's what I was elected to do. Secondly, he also wrote here on the staff agenda that we, Council Baca and I, are harassing our employees. If there's any complaints, I would like to know about it. If our employees feel that we're harassing them, there's always HR. They have that kind of ability to go privately and discuss that we're harassing them. But you don't get to put this allegation here on the agenda. It doesn't make it true. And, you know, the staff has been here every time we ask questions. We don't harass them. We just ask questions because it's the legitimate thing to do. No one gets elected here to just sit here and not question what's going on. Thousands and thousands of dollars are being spent. So yes, we had concerns, we asked questions, and we got our answers. And that is within our right. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank
Mayor,
you.
if I just may state that the information you just
Let's close it
provided.
up after this.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Show us the $15,000. This investigation you did for $15,000. Bring the documents. Who said? I mean, you just sit there and you just say things that aren't true. There was never a $15,000 in question. If you have it, I'd like to see the evidence of that. Both of you speak about these invoices that were unpaid and staff and people that were unpaid. You have no evidence of it. Staff did a thorough investigation, spent thousands of taxpayers' dollars, hundreds of hours, and put together a report so that the public could see. As a matter of fact, we should put these on the internet, that there was no wrongdoing, but because both of you want to stifle staff and continue to just berate them and go after them for things that weren't even true. I mean, where is your information? Where is your evidence that these invoices are wrong, that all of you were questioning a few months ago? I mean, I think it's wrong. And I think you, Susan, know that both of you work in concert with this gentleman who comes every weekend, who's not from the city of Baldwin Park, who has no kids here, beats up on everybody. Every single staff member on here has been beat up by this gentleman here. Goes after the soccer league, a solid organization in this community, and he goes after them and beats them up, beat up about every council member here. And then he comes here and continues to berate the city council with just outrageous lies. This man sitting in the corner is nothing but a liar. And I think I'll see him in court. Then he sues us. This ridiculous lawsuit sued 3 council members in this city council, an utterly ridiculous lawsuit in small claims court that I look forward to seeing you on June 5th. And I think it's wrong. And I think both of you work with him, and you know what you should do. You should be leaders in this community and work with things that the community is concerned with. I know you smile there because you think it's funny, because all you do is like to berate people, misuse them, and go after them. You don't have nothing more to offer. But I enjoy it. Work with us to make the city a better place to live, instead of just spending so many hours just going after all the people that are here, trying to get people fired, fabricating ideas that we've already selected a chief of police when we're just going through the process. Cruz, that's what you got to do. I know you're smiling. You're so cute. But, Mayor, anyways, thank you. I had enough. I mean, it just goes.
No, I need to clarify something, because he just said that we lied about the $15,000. We did not lie. Mayor, can you please ask him to stop saying things to me?
Councilman, please.
Thank you. And it wasn't a lie. So again, when you see payments being made to something that doesn't exist, at the time the contract didn't exist, yes, we did look into it, and it turned out that it was an oversight, and I'm going to have Sam clarify, because it wasn't a lie. Someone forgot to sign the contract, so there wasn't a contract. It turned out that they approved it over the internet or something, but it wasn't a lie. And rightfully so, I found something that was paid to something that didn't exist. Once it was clarified, I accept that. But it was my job to find out why we were paying for an invoice that didn't exist. And I'm going to have Sam, can you clarify about how that happened, that we paid for an invoice that didn't exist at the time? Thank you.
Go ahead, Sam.
I have to apologize. I do not recall the.
That's, let me clarify. Went down law. Eventually, we had to track the old public works director and ask him, how did this happen? And he said that he forgot to sign the contract, but he had done some verbal approval, I believe. Can you clarify that? Just because I want to make a point that it wasn't a fabrication. It did exist. Then I had to ask. We did clarify, but it is truthful. So can you please share if that didn't exist?
Was this the bike path contract?
Well,
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
There were so many invoices. This
Mayor,
was
she's even unclear about what she's talking about.
There was two separate.
Mayor, we're going to have to remove this gentleman. He continues to be an outburst like that.
Please, don't interfere, but go ahead.
Well, first of all, and you can recall, because they keep saying that we're not telling the truth. I moved over, and it's on record. Again, I invite the residents to listen to it. I didn't read it because I didn't want to be accused of lying. I handed it over to legal counsel, and I said, legal counsel, I don't want to be accused of lying. He read out the invoice. He read out the amounts. and I thanked him for it because I didn't want to be the one doing it. He did it, and he could attest to it right here. But once again, Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco, you want us to be held accountable for the audience and their behavior. I mean, I think it's very clear to anyone listening why they have this fight going on. I don't disrespect the audience, and I just sit here, and you like to engage with fights with them. It's no wonder this is happening, but please don't blame me. I cannot be held accountable for how the audience members behave, and I think that that's inappropriate. And Mayor, once again, I insist that this item where he's saying that we're harassing the employees and that he's my campaign manager, this is gossip. I'm sorry, unless the staff has put a formal complaint, you shouldn't have something like this, because then we all are exposed. I can make allegations about you, and I can make allegations about him, and unless there's no record, we can't be doing that to ourselves. Thank you, Mayor.
Right, so
Mayor?
They can make, yes, go ahead.
I know everybody wants to go home, and we're going to make this, I want to make this short. However, I just want to say to everyone that's here, and also anyone that may be listening, that I do not throw allegations or make up things just to throw them out there because I'm sitting here on the council. I take what I say very seriously, and I have proof. I asked for public records. I asked for staff to prepare certain invoices for me. I spent the entire summer looking at a lot of these invoices. I requested to have a workshop with Mr. Sid Musabi's company so that we could go over the invoices and he could clarify to us why they were the expenses that there were. And I was told by the majority of the council that no, that it was a waste of time, because why spend another day going over everything that they had already gone over, and that I should trust everything that's going on. It's not that I don't trust our staff. I respect our staff, and I think they do a wonderful job considering some of the decisions that are made here on the dais, which I believe are strictly personal, and they're made to profit their pockets. I think that these allegations that are being brought forward are false. I have proof of everything, and if anybody would like to meet with me, I'll be glad to show you all the documents. And I am moving forward with questioning how our money, because it's the taxpayers' money. This isn't just my money up here or my decision. A lot of you work very hard, or the majority of you work extremely hard, including the businesses, in order to pay the taxes in the city. And you have the right to know where your money is being spent. We've had consultants that we paid a lot of money, and yet they stood there and they were not able to tell me or to justify their invoices. And that is what I was looking for. I just want the answers. If they give me the answers, then I too will be satisfied, but I have not gotten the answers. So that's why I do what I do. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember, yes, Vice Mayor Monica Garcia.
Thank you. You know, I do want to chime in on this because I have also been attacked by the same individuals that Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco has mentioned here. And I think that there is a very strong association with Council Members Cruz Baca and Susan Rubio to this individual, and they have encouraged him, and they have allowed him to sit up here during committee meetings and have, again, worked very closely with him. And all we're asking is for you two to, just like you've worked with him, you know, to address some city items and some campaign items, that you would talk with him and you would let him know that, you know, there is a limit, there is a boundary. And I agree that he is creating a hostile environment. And I do agree that it serves your political agenda. And if I can go ahead and read something that is documented, and it's between Sheila Ann Tuttle, the ex-wife of Greg Sebastian Tuttle, and it is a restraining order. And it says, I, Sheila Ann Tuttle, hereby state and declare under penalty of perjury the following is true and correct. There are 7 pages that describe this woman's experience with Mr. Tuttle. But she goes on to say, I am seeking this order on an ex parte application based on the fact the respondent has caused physical harm to our daughter and is mentally abusing both of us to the point we are in fear of our lives. Now, I share this with you because I think that this is a reflection of the character that we've been dealing with here in the City Council. And it also is unfortunate that so much of our time and focus is spent in dealing with this individual and matters related to this individual. What I have asked in the past is, why can't we focus on the city? Why can't we focus on the community? Why can't we focus on infrastructure projects, on parks, on absolutely, we are all here to be accountable and to look at the city's business and invoices, and we've hired competent staff. And so we are here for all this, for the same purpose. But I would just ask that our focus, turn more towards the community and less on what is happening here with all this hostility, with all this negativity, because it gets us nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Heidi,
That's exactly the point we started off with, that has no business in our agenda items. That's exactly what we started off with. We need to deal with city business, not gossip brought into this. And just like I said earlier, I always speak with facts. The dispute that Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia and the mayor have going with some of the residents goes back 10 years. 10 years, it's on record, you can look it up. Councilmember Cruz Baca got elected 3 years ago. I got elected, I believe, 7 years ago. And he's on record going back 10 years fighting with them. And for me, it's just a matter of respect. I don't think I've ever addressed them in any other way other than respectfully. And I know that because I used to be the city clerk and I sat there for 4 years watching the fight between them and the mayor and Councilmember Monica Garcia. So it's not something we created. It's existed for 10 years. Now we want to be blamed for what's happening here. You'll never see me yelling at audience members. You will never see me disrespecting them. So perhaps that's why they don't go after me. Thank you, Mayor.
Right. So at this
Mayor.
point, yes,
Mayor, let's just
go ahead. Allow
move
Councilor
to-
Cruz Baca. Let her finish. Go ahead.
And, in a perfect world, it would be great what Vice Mayor said. But if you remember 2 weeks ago, we did not stick to the agenda. Mayor, you insulted me by bringing up my family. And I feel that even though I told you it wasn't part of the agenda, you still proceeded with insult me about my family. I think that was totally wrong. I think that we need to, yes, absolutely, I'm for the community. Put all personal things aside. I would love to help the community. That's what I'm about. That's why I came back to Baldwin Park.
Mayor.
So I think that
Hold on. Go ahead.
I think that we need to, here on the dais, and I've been saying it for a long time, we need to respect each other first so that others can respect us. Thank you.
All right. So at this point, Councilman.
I'll just end with this, Cruz. I know you say that I'm all for working with the community. Let's knock off all these these political things that you're doing with your campaign manager. But look, there was a lawsuit with the former Lily Hetzel, our chief of police, where Mr. Tuttle.
Stop.
Mr. Tuttle somehow got into the deposition of this court case, and in that deposition, and this is written down, he talks about how he communicates with you like every other week, and he guides you, and he talked to you about that false allegation that you put against me and signed it and sent it to city. He describes all that, how he coordinated that with you. And so I'll bring that forward. I mean, you want proof? I'll bring how you coordinated with him, and it's his words. He says it in his deposition, how you and him fabricated this letter, and you went to the chief of police, and you went to our second chief of police, and everybody kicks it down and sends it to HR. And I think you should stop playing those games with staff and whatever political point you're trying to make along with Mr. Tuttle. I think you should stop that. And that's in a deposition, Cruz. That's in a document that Mr. Tuttle, under sworn oath said. And I'll bring it to the next meeting so you could read it yourself. I'll read it in public. I hate to do that, but I'm really sick and tired of the childish games that you play as a council member here in this city that I supported once that I no longer support because you just want to be playing games all day, wasting staff time, and I'm done with it. So I'll bring it to the next time. You guys wanted proof. I will bring your proof. Sworn disposition last time. Okay, so you know what? I'm done. I'm finished. Let's just finish this.
No, because let me just tell you, I did read the deposition in its entirety, and that's false. Mr. Tuttle never said he coordinated to make up a lie with Councilmember. That is an absolute lie. Why don't we just put it online? What you're just making up is lies. That is just so inappropriate. I read the deposition. He never said that. He just testified in that case. I don't know if he was asked or not. Like I said, I don't talk to him, but that has nothing to do with that. And what you're saying that it says on a deposition that they coordinated. How can you be just allowed to lie like that up here? That's false. And yes, we should put it online because it doesn't say that they coordinated to lie. That is false. I did read it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. At this point, I'm going to move for adjournment. Can we please do that? Any objections? See none. Viva Baldwin Park. Hey, those chopsticks, by the way, were given by Miss Ong. So just wanted to know. Yes, Sally. Thank you. Oh, she's almost took your glasses. That's for my camera last time. I know. Gene, have a good time. We'll see you soon.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.